The career profile that I chose to do was for psychosocial rehabilitation. Um, I searched online to see what organizations there are. I was typically looking for in Utah because that's where I would like to base my career out of and to live eventually once I have my degree. There is a organization called Sherwood Hills Recovery Resort. It's actually there in Wellsville, Utah. The working environment that it would be for this type of job is, it can vary. The hours are going to be very different because it's going to be people living there in that organization or in that facility. So you could be working late hours into the night, or you could be working early hours in the morning. The therapists that will work here, though, are typically like a 9 to 5 job, kind of work hours that they'll have there. But then the other workers, the behavioral technicians is at least what they've been called in other organizations, would work. They would typically go there and stay overnight and be there the whole day and then all through the night for about a week period. Some of the typical stress things that people run into at this job, there's many of them, but the people that you're working with, they've been through a lot in their lives, so sometimes they'll act out just to kind of get a rise out of you or to get any kind of attention out of you, which is typically the sort of things that people like this who struggle with these kind of problems will do. So you'll have to be very, very calm and not get frustrated over things that normal people would not typically try to do to you. It'd be very mentally draining to hear about other people's problems, so if you're the type of person that doesn't really like to hear your friends or families come to you about the things that they struggle with and their problems, it might not be the best thing for you to do. Let's see. Another thing that I think would be very hard that I've kind of, after talking to friends who do it, or doing it myself at a job that I used to work at, one of the hardest things was that you would see someone making so much progress and moving forward in their life and making so many changes and doing all these things that you see benefiting and blessing their life, but then in one day they'll throw it all away and just stop. They won't care anymore or won't try. That to me was one of the hardest things, because I did work at a boys ranch in Tucson for a long time, and I loved it. The boys were awesome, but it was very hard to see them progress and then all of a sudden throw it all away because it just got too hard for them. I did try to look up benefits that you can have. Obviously with any organization or career, the benefits will be different. The typical task that you'll have is if you're a therapist there at one of these organizations, you'll typically be working with the boys and on their behavioral issues that they're having and try and find ways to work around those and to help them cope with the things that have happened in their life, either in the past or the present, that is causing them to have these issues. Obviously the end goal is to help them find ways to practice healthy behaviors when in those difficult situations. So that is definitely the end goal, that if you can reach that, you're going to have to do a lot of steps before that to get to that point. You also monitor each patient, as a therapist, they'll monitor each patient and change treatments if necessary. If they're noticing that certain treatments that they're giving these patients of theirs aren't working, they'll have to change that and find something different. The education that you'll have, it depends on state by state. Some states will require certain licenses that others won't. So you'll have to definitely look into that. There are some facilities that for an entry-level position will accept a bachelor's degree, but most will require a master's degree in this type of field. The salary is going to be the lower end, starting out, can be $20,000 a year. The higher end that I found was about $60,000 a year. One thing that I did find interesting about this was that the expected growth in this career will be about 20% from 2012 to 2022. So over those years, they're expecting to have that kind of growth. So that's kind of the research and things that I found while looking into this career, and that'll be all. So thanks.